Hey everyone, it's Mari. I'm going to be using this sketch today as my inspiration for my 12 by 12 scrapbooking process. And I've chosen some papers and some different bits and pieces from the Dear Lizzy Lovely Day collection. I'm starting out here with this kind of an orangey red patterned paper as my base. And then I'm going to use the little bits and pieces with the fox images from the collection, including this really cute fox pattern paper. I love the colors in this pattern paper, and the color scheme in this paper was definitely the inspiration for the color scheme in the entire layout. So you can see how the orange of those foxes and the orange in the base paper for the layout are very, very close in tone. And I just really like how that looks. And I'm going to use that, like I said, as a jumping off place for the color scheme for the layout. So I've just printed my photograph in a square photo, black and white. And this is just a photo of Jordan and I using a Snapchat filter. And the filter is definitely the inspiration also for using these little foxes on this layout, or the reason why I guess I picked the little foxes for the motif for the layout. So I'm going to create that area over to the left with the photograph, and then I will create an area over to the right for the journaling. And I really love all of the different pattern papers in this collection, and they definitely just go together very well, obviously. And I just had a lot of fun using some of the different bits and pieces here of this collection for the layout. Now I really love the little chevron pattern on this pattern paper specifically, and what I decided to do was to just take a piece of it and then cut along the jaggedy edge, or that chevron edge of one edge of the paper, and then I'll just use that as a photo layer or a strip behind my photograph. And I'll actually use that that same pattern paper over on that area on the right side of the layout that I'm going to develop the other kind of cluster area as well. So I've just got that fussy cut there, and I'm just working on creating those layers over on that left side. So the first layer that I have behind the photograph is the pattern paper from this collection that has the houses on it, and it's just a really, really neutral, and so that is the neutral layer for that photo mat. Now I'm just taking that piece that I have on the bottom there with the foxes on it and just making it a little bit narrower, and I just really like that rough edge, that torn edge on the paper, just to give a little bit more texture. Now I'm going to take one of these little clips from a Chamel collection that I have in my stash, and I'm actually going to play around with that a little bit, and I do end up putting it back onto that photo mat as one of the layers here in a little bit when I end up doing the embellishing. So I'm going to take that other piece of that chevron paper, and I'm going to do the same thing with it that I did on the other side, and I'm just going to fussy cut along that edge, and I'm going to use that as one of my layers over on that right side. So you just see me cutting this out here, and I could have sped this up a little bit more, I guess. And it's kind of trying to decide how I want that to go, which sort of, if I want it going vertical or horizontal, I guess. I didn't feel like it needed to match the left side necessarily as far as whether it was going horizontally or vertically, so I ended up just going with that direction, and that'll be one of my layers over on that side. Now I really like this the navy side of this paper as well, and so I'm going to use that over on the other side behind my photo, and as well on the on that other side there as well. So you can just see me adding that there. So the back side of that is the fox paper. So I end up using quite a bit of that fox pattern paper for this layout, which is good because I wasn't really sure where else what other kind of layout I would use that paper for, unless I was going to be doing a layout with some of my kids' photos from when they were younger. So I did like how that looks on this specific layout because of that filter from Snapchat. Now I am going to, like I said, use a little bit of navy here and there just as a pop of a darker color. And that is a dominant color throughout this collection. So that's definitely was easy for me to find little bits and pieces of navy in this Dear Lizzy collection as I'm going through. Now I just decided that I wanted to use a strip of this paper at the bottom and the top, and that's just the reverse side of that chevron paper. So I just took a strip of that and I'm going to add that at the top and the bottom of that fox paper. I haven't stuck anything down yet. I'm still just kind of working on placing things, and I like to do that when I'm working on a layout rather than getting things stuck down right away. Now I have just taken a pencil and I've marked where I would like to put some molding paste, and so I'm just using some golden light molding paste here and this little dot stencil, and I'm going to just go around the layout where I've put those little pencil lines and just put some little areas there. And the little pencil areas that I created there are based on where I had things kind of positioned on the layout. So I'm just going to put that down, and then I will just set this aside for a little bit and let it dry. And once that's all set up, then I will continue with the layout. So I'm going to just start sticking things down here and get those onto the layout. Finally, getting things stuck down here. I like this picture of Jordan and I. It's fun. I actually ended up being in the city just really only for about 24 hours on the weekend, and I was helping him out with some things at his place. He's actually going to be moving here in about 2 months, I guess, or so. But well, actually more like 3 months. He's going to be moving to Ontario, so he's kind of getting ready for that move, and I was just in helping him get a few things lined up. And so we took a moment out to take this goofy photograph of the two of us. So just getting that stuck down. And I like the way that this is looking. I like how it's shaping up. I really love using sketches. And I find that if I am just lacking a little bit of mojo, or if I feel like I just need some inspiration, I will often go to a sketch, and I like that. It's just it's a good way to be inspired and sort of figure out what you want to do. And there's tons of sketches on Pinterest that you can use for inspiration. So now I've got some of those pieces stuck down here. I'm just going to go ahead and put my layers back down here and sort out exactly where I want everything. I've taken a piece of lined paper on the right side there, and I have used my notebook punch on the edge of it, and that's where I'm going to put my journaling, on that right side. And I'm just going to fold up some of the edges a little bit here just to create a little bit more dimension here and there on the layout. I'm also looking at it and I'm thinking that I want to add something else to that, the layers on both sides. So I just go into my stash and grab a couple of small doilies, and I'm going to end up using a doily on both sides of the layout just for a little bit of an extra layer here. So you'll just see me popping that down. And I think I end up just turning my camera off to stick everything down, just so that you don't have to be bored with watching me use my adhesive on the layout. So I'm just moving some of my stuff out of the way, and I'm going to get out some more of the embellishments from this Dear Lizzy Lovely Day collection. And I just love this little fox with that yellow flower. And I'm going to stick that down in that area at the bottom of where I'm going to put the journaling. And I'm going to just take some of the other dimensional stickers, and I'm going to use a couple of the puffy stickers on the layout, and just taking and kind of trying to just sort out where I want everything on the layout. Not sure what I'm doing right now. Just looking through my stuff, I think, trying to figure out what I want to use. The goal is to try to use up my stuff, right? I have way too much of a habit of letting things build up in my stash, and I should probably do a purge here this spring. And maybe perhaps during the Easter break, that's one of the things I'll do, is get into my stash and make up some things to kind of do some just purging and giving some things away, and getting some packages ready to maybe sell in a garage sale or something. I don't even know what yet, but I know I've got way too much stuff. One thing that I really need to get rid of in my stash is some stamps. I have to definitely do that, because they take up a lot of space, a lot of storage space, and especially the ones that are wood mounted. So I really need to go through and do a purge of those stamps and some of my papers and things like that. So that needs to be done very, very soon. So I'm going to just do a cluster to the top right of the photograph, and then I'm doing a cluster basically diagonally from that down in the bottom corner of the journaling. And I'm going to add a title to this, and that'll be a chipboard sticker that says "Choose Crazy." And I think that's perfect, a perfect sentiment for this photograph. So I'm almost done here, guys. I'm just going to add some bits and pieces here, and then I will show you a little bit of a close-up here. You can see where I added a little bit of sewing, and that's going to be it. Stay tuned for a few still shots, and have an amazing day, and thanks so much for stopping by my channel. Bye-bye.